And welcome to the special clip of the John Etch Show, where they'll be talking about Week 3 NFL surprises, MLB division races, and Troy Hall's college picks. And here are the gentlemen, John Etch and Troy Hall. Gentlemen, let's start off quickly. Going into Week 3 in the NFL, any surprises?
Well, wow, a lot of surprises. In my view, it has to be with what's going on in the NFL with the injuries. Tony Romo out for, broken clavicle. He's going to be out for what they say about 8 weeks. Bunch of other injuries that are going on in the NFL, but also the most surprising for me, since we are here in Miami, is the Dolphins' start of their 2015 season. They're 1-1, and they barely won that first game against the Redskins, and then they lost against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they were a touchdown favorite. And what surprises me the most, Troy, is that last year they ended the season. Their defense was just a crumbling defense at the end of the season, and it looks like the same type of defense we're seeing now in 2015 it's like a continuation from last year.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they changed very much. The personnel's different. Obviously, Sue's been added, but he's been invisible. I don't know what they have to do to fix it, but Coyle right now doesn't look like he's doing a very good job with the defense of the Dolphins.
So what do you think about this, about injury-wise? Any surprises? Well, Tony Romo has to be the biggest
Tons
surprise.
of injuries. Drew Brees is questionable this week. It seems
DeMarco
like
Murray, hamstring.
Yeah, everybody's on the injury report.
Yeah, so a lot of surprises.
And now, second question. Baseball season is almost over, John. What are your thoughts on the division races and the wild card?
All right, let me put on my glasses so I can look at the standings here. And this, for the first time in a long time, LC, and you're a big-time New York guy because you're from New York, the New York Mets and the New York Yankees will be playing post-season baseball. So that's, I wouldn't say it's a miracle, but, it's been a long time since both of those teams have been in the playoffs, in the postseason together at the same time. So in the East, we got the New York Mets. It looks like they're going to win that division. I don't see them with 10 games left in the season. I don't see them, faltering at all. Even though the Nationals are trying to give it a run at the end, but the New York Mets will win that division. In the Central, the St. Louis Cardinals, they'll win that division with a 95-56 record so far with 10 games left. And in the West, we got the Los Angeles Dodgers, and it looks like they're going to win that division also. In the wild card, we got the two teams, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are just 4 games behind St. Louis, and then my Chicago Cubs are 6.5 games back from the Cardinals. So those are your two wild card teams, the Pirates and the Cubs. And if the season were to end today, the Cubs will be playing the Pirates in Pittsburgh, and the winner of that will face the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Mets will be facing the Los Angeles Dodgers. In the American League, I think the biggest surprise has to be the Toronto Blue Jays. Ever since they made those trades to get Tulowitzki, they've turned around their season, and they're going to win that. Well, they're 3.5 games in front of the New York Yankees. It looks like they're going to win that division. In the Central, we got the Kansas City Royals, who wrapped that division a long time ago. And then in the West, which is a pretty good race, Houston was in first place throughout the whole year. It looks like they might make a run at it with 10 games left to either tie with Texas or either just outright win that division. But Texas right now is in first place with a 2.5 game lead. The wild card teams are depending again on in the West, in the American League, who wins that division. If Texas wins the division, Houston gets in, and the Yankees are in as the other wild card. So it's exciting. I think true baseball fans are looking forward to the postseason because, again, the New York teams are in the postseason. So it's gonna be exciting. So hopefully, those who love the game of baseball stay tuned and just have a great time watching these games.
And now for Troy's picks.
All right, Troy. Troy with a 10-8 overall record. Last week he went 4-2. He has 5 games on the board tonight, and let's start with the first game, Troy. Virginia Tech is at East Carolina. Virginia Tech is a 9.5-point favorite.
I like East Carolina to cover in this game. I think that's way too many points. East Carolina's coming off a pretty bad loss to Navy, but Navy, as you know, runs an option attack with veteran quarterback. I think he had 5 touchdowns last week. I think that's why that line's inflated. If they had a better result in that game, it would be more along the lines of maybe 3 points, a field goal, or even closer to a pick 'em. But they got beat by, I think, 24 points, 45-21 last week. I expect East Carolina to bounce back. They beat Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech last year. I like the matchup. I like the style they play. I think it matches up really well against Frank Beamer's team up there. And Blake Kemp's quarterback for East Carolina. He didn't have the best week last week. He'll rebound this week at home. They cover the 9.5.
So East Carolina covers the 9.5. They're at home against Virginia Tech. The next game, the Tennessee Volunteers are at Florida playing the Gators. And that game is a pick.
That game's a pick. In this game, I like Tennessee to win the game. In the Swamp, give Florida their first loss. I think Tennessee is better across the board with the exception of their secondary, but I don't think that's a big deal because the Gators can't throw anyways, and Tennessee's just going to pound the rock. They're not going to beat them with a pass. So I love this matchup. It's my favorite pick of the week. I like Tennessee to give the Gators their first loss.
All right, our next game here, the 9th-ranked UCLA Bruins are at Arizona. UCLA is favored by 3.5.
All right, UCLA going on the road to Arizona this week. Rich Rodriguez has never beaten UCLA. He's 0-3 since he's been there, but they have beaten a top 10 team every year that he has been there. The campus is fired up, ready for this one. Their quarterback Solomon is due for a breakout game this year. And the freshman for UCLA started off hot against Virginia, and he's kind of cooled off the last 2 weeks. He's going to have to go on the road against an Arizona team that's better than probably that BYU team that they just squeaked out a 1-point win against last week. And I like Arizona to cover the points in this one. Very tight game at Arizona.
And a lot of people are saying UCLA could be one of those Final Four teams, right?
They are. I disagree because of the true freshman quarterback.
Okay.
I think the division's just too strong with the Arizona State, USC, Stanford, and that rest of that Pac-10 South. It's too tough a schedule. UCLA is not going to make it through.
All right, so you like Arizona again, the 3.5 at home versus UCLA. Our next game, the 19th-ranked Trojans, USC. They're at Arizona State, and USC is favored by 5, Troy.
This one's tough because it's a bounce-back game for USC. They lost unexpectedly to Stanford. Obviously, that's a big rivalry, but they lost by 10. I think they are going to go down again. I think Steve Sarkisian's team is starting to go downhill a little bit. I do expect them to rebound a little bit later in the season with a veteran quarterback, but I think USC is going down to a good Arizona State team that played a bad first game this year against Texas A&M and lost. I think Arizona State at home, big game. They recruit a ton of Southern California kids. Those guys always have this game circled. They've beaten them before, and I think they upset special. They win the game outright.
Game outright.
Yep.
That puts USC at 2 losses in a row.
For back-to-back.
Wow. All right, our 5th game is Maryland at West Virginia. West Virginia is favored by 17, Troy.
I don't see an upset in this game, but this is a rivalry game. It's usually much closer than 17 points. I think it's just way too many points. This line shouldn't even be double digits. It should be an 8 or 9 point line. West Virginia has unproven wide receivers, an unproven quarterback, a very good defense, which I expect to limit Maryland to maybe 2 scores, maybe a field goal or 2. Their field goal kicker won the Lou Groza last year. West Virginia will get on the board and win the game, but I don't see them covering 17 points. Maryland's got a veteran defensive squad. They return a lot of guys, and I don't see West Virginia's young wide receivers and an inexperienced quarterback. I don't see them scoring enough against Maryland to win by more than 17
Why do you think the
points.
line's so high there, Troy?
West Virginia's defense is very, very good. And I think they're expecting West Virginia's offense to be a little bit better than I think they are at this point. I think West Virginia's offense will get better every week. They're young at wide receiver. They're young at quarterback. They're veteran at running back. But Maryland's got some veteran guys defensively. Maryland's problem is scoring. And West Virginia's problem is also going to be scoring in this one. I think Maryland will control the run and make West Virginia throw to try to win this game. West Virginia will win it, but I think they win by 7-10.
All right, let's review the picks before we sign off. East Carolina getting the 9.5 at home versus Virginia Tech. Tennessee at Florida. It's a pick-em game. Troy likes Tennessee. That's his pick of the week. UCLA at Arizona. Troy likes Arizona getting 3.5 versus the Bruins. USC at Arizona State. Arizona State, Troy likes getting the 5 against the Trojans. And Maryland at West Virginia. He likes Maryland getting the 17 on the road against West Virginia. Troy, you have a 10-A record overall. And you had a good week last week. You were 4-2, and let's hope for the best.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of underdogs this week. A lot of underdogs going to cover this week.
All right, you can catch the John Ed Show every Sunday from 8 to 10. We broadcast live from Jada Cole's Bar, 2845 Corway. Thanks for tuning in and logging on. Have a great week.